Andor, guys, season 2 is coming out very shortly. End of the month there. They're going to do like 3 episodes they're going to drop. And of course, the first season did good enough to get a second season. But they've spent like, per episode, it's like 10 to 12 million per episode. And that piggy banked into season 2. And there's people that are excited about it. Understand it's more adult, which is what Star Wars has been separate of. But the character of Bix, now this is going online. There have been people, commentators on YouTube talking about this. The first person to kind of break it was Nerd Nation. What's his name? Nerd. God, I'm going blank on his name. Den of Nerds. And then it kind of branched off from Den of Nerds. But I'll tell you this, like there's apparently a scene in this where the character of Bix, who's Cassian's friend, right now, there's definitely a past love relationship in the show. She's pretty much helping him get different droids and tools and stuff like that. But apparently in the second season, there is a scene where an officer tries to rape Bix. And then Bix goes a whole board and calls this officer out and says, he tried to rape me. And it's like, for Star Wars, I mean, we've been asking for a long time to find out how they do their taxes. Sean knows how they get to work, like what kind of cars or scooters do they take. But Disney didn't listen to us. They decided to say, how do they rate people in Star Wars? That's what they think that the audience needs. And the idea of Star Wars has always been an idea of hope. We start with New Hope, you know what I mean? Hope, fun, children's projects. And I get it. I've always screamed for like more adult themes in Star Wars. I always think it's cool. I was really upset that I thought when I heard about what they were going to do with the second one, where Luke was going to go dark, and then it was going to go into the third one where he was going to join the Sith. That sounded cool to me as a narrative. But it always came down to one thing for George Lucas, which was, again, children. Kids. It's a kids movie. And when they sold it off for billions and billions of dollars to Disney, of course they're going to go different route. Of course they are. And Kathleen Kennedy is going to be stepping down eventually. We've talked about that multiple times. But for Andor, they've wasted a lot of money on this. I don't think it's the best IP they could do for their franchise. It's a middle ground. It's like it's pretty much connecting tissue into the past franchise, the new franchise. But I think it might be a tad too far. And I love adult themed stuff, but like, do we have to put forward the idea that rape is happening in a galaxy far, far away? I don't think it's necessary. I just don't think it's necessary. I think we should bring the joy, the fun. I love Skeleton Crew because it felt like old Star Wars in a lot of ways. Kids felt like I also kind of felt like a little bit of Goonies. It's like Goonies in space. It was fun, but you know what? That won't get picked up. They pick up Andor and they do these kind of adult things. But I get it. It fits into that world. But is it necessary? I don't think so. And as more people talk about this, we got to keep this conversation going because yes, rape is a very serious conversation. But is Star Wars the right platform for that? Sean, what do you think?
I didn't know about this. It's when you watch Rogue One, you understand it's a more grounded approach. Andor season 1 definitely continued some of that theme. I'm very surprised that if this is what happens, that this was a direction they said, let's do it. This fits into Andor's darkiness.
Right.
That's not I just can't. I can't fathom it. Right? Again, is it studios taking the wrong lessons from things? Is it? I don't fucking know, man. This isn't cool.
No, which we talked about is how Disney has been kind of, and their trajectory has been going kind of in the wrong direction, whether it be based off of the movements in Hollywood or maybe on top of that, it's them trying to be like edgier. I don't know, but there's certain things we just don't need sometimes, And like in Star Wars, it's about hope.
Is this confirmed? Did they say this stuff?
They haven't not said it yet, but apparently there's been multiple people that have seen screeners said this sequence is in there, and then she addresses like everyone and points to the person and says, "This person tried to, P. Diddy me." You know what I mean? And for me, it's like that's just a step too far, I think.
Yes,
and I get. I love Star Wars. Would you rather see taxes made or
yes.
this? You know what I mean?
Show me how you e-file taxes in the Jedi Council, right? There's a meme going around about, hey, George Lucas gets pissed off every time you ask him, kids that are circumcised, do they got a lower midichlorian count, right?
What? I have never seen that before. What?
Go ahead and look into it. The whole idea of that midichlorians are in the flesh. It's a whole flash joke. Don't worry about it. I don't like this, man.
It's ridiculous.
The Star Wars stuff since it's been so hit or miss too. Like with Obi-Wan, to that point, Obi-Wan felt more like fan service for Laura said, right? Like it's from a certain generation that grew up with that trilogy as their trilogy. You know, like I don't know, man. I'm disappointed if this is what happened.
Me too.
There are much better stories to tell in this universe that doesn't rely on gimmicks on this kind of shit. That's really sad to hear. Yeah.
No, Laura, as a female perspective here on the show, and I know you love Star Wars, right? You're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I grew up on it. Who didn't of my generation? You know, like that's the movie your parents show you when you're like getting to an age where you can understand things like that, right? Not sexual assault. I'm talking about like Star Wars and government and things like that. It's like when you're 8, 9 years old, you're like figuring out the world, right?
And also, Laura, they're still selling Andor shirts at Disneyland, Disney World.
Right.
They're pushing it towards that generation still. How do you feel just like initially hearing about this news? Do you think this is right trajectory for Mickey Mouse to take with Star Wars?
I mean, I don't think it's a Mickey Mouse issue. I don't even think it's a Disney issue. I don't think it's even, to some degree, a Star Wars issue. I think it's a sci-fi fantasy issue. The whole point of sci-fi fantasy is that we escape the real world, right? And like, I think there's enough content out there addressing it. Maybe I'm the unpopular female opinion, but like, I don't think that fantasy worlds need to address that. There's enough real world shit going on. You could do like a little homage to it without doing a whole shebang on it. And it kind of feels like the after school special I never wanted. It's not the 90s anymore. We don't have to dedicate episodes to like stuff that like is already being covered immensely in popular culture. I think the point of Star Wars is to always address the undercurrent and the underbelly, and like it's always been a socio-political commentary, but not to the things that are at the forefront. Like we don't need to point out the obvious in Star Wars, so I'm not sure why we're doing it. I would like to see more subtle conversation. I would like to see deeper material, and I think it's doing George Lucas a major distrust, a major disjustice, and a major disrespect to take something that's so after school specially and so mainstream in its discussion. That is not the style, it's not the sophistication, and it's not the storytelling that Star Wars does. So I'm disappointed in a major way, just because it feels like fodder for the masses. And it's sad that something that people are universally connected to, that is supposed to be something that's sophisticated, a little bit higher thought, and something that people, whether or not knew they were supporting a different conversation, has turned to mainstream kind of fodder for the animals. I know, again, that might be an unpopular female opinion. I think it could have been done better from what I understand and what I hear is being presented. I suppose I'll have to watch the episode and maybe we can have a follow-up to this where like
I would love to.
I would really like to come back and discuss it after I see it, because maybe I'm making prejudgments that aren't justified. But I have always felt that Star Wars is far more sophisticated than what this conversation is. We all know that sexual assault is wrong. We don't need that shoved down our throats. We talk about it on the show regularly. Like anyone who doesn't know at this point, again, you guys, I'm a little bit more foul than I usually am. Maybe it's J. Lore speaking through me, but
Laura, we brought you to Laura Land. That's why.
I know, right? You're an ignorant piece of trash. Hold on to your butts. You don't know sexual assault is wrong. We regularly talk about on the show the underlying current and the underbelly of Hollywood. Do we really need to like have this like PSA on Star Wars that sexual assault is wrong? Are you guys? Are you sitting there thinking about your decision? Come on, you guys. Why
are we doing this?
Let's leave that to like the fucking teenage Nickelodeon shows to address. Like we don't need to do that on Star Wars. let's have a higher conversation as Star Wars and George Lucas has always intended for us to have. Something that's in the subtext that's not so obvious that maybe fans are just like, oh, cool, but like people who can read between the lines appreciate, and that's not what this is. So I don't like
Star
it.
Trek did that
the
too.
bottom line on this, Brian, is Star Wars is a fucking fantasy. It's to entertain people. We want to get into this serious shit. That's more for episodic television. It's not for what we do here.
Well, GR, that's why I was like, you see what Angel said? Angel said, I think at one point, like he doesn't. There was Angel. There was somebody that said that they stopped watching Battlestar Galactica because there was a suicide. And then also like Queen's like cancel Andor. This is the last season. This is technically done after this, and people stopped watching because again, what is GR? What do we do for Hollywood? I mean, what are we doing? We're creating worlds for people to disconnect from reality. That's what it always was. It happened in World War II. That's why it was essential, because it was a way for people to step away from the fucking nastiness to actually have a distraction. And when you bring it to this forefront in a world that is franchise like Star Wars, which is definitely not that world, does that stop and hurt the idea of a distraction from reality for you, GR?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, do I know there's dirtbags in the world? Fucking ain't right, I do. And so do you.
Yeah.
Do we have to be reminded about it 24/7? No. We're here to entertain people and make them feel good.
Are we not assuming that every stormtrooper is a rapist? Because I am. Like,
well, they could be, Laura. They could be. I mean, we don't show them though. We don't show them doing that.
You don't need to assume. That's what I'm saying. Of course, you think people like that live in this world. We don't need it spelled out for us. We're not stupid. Star Wars fans aren't stupid.
You don't have to slap me with it to make me realize it.
Yeah, I can see the fish is dead. You don't have to slap me with it, which is exactly what you're saying, GR. And I don't know. You guys, that was my soapbox for the night. Sean, I had to get on mine, and that was mine. And it's funny because I'm a feminist, and I very staunchly believe in women's rights and that television is a medium for good messages. But this is one that, like, you'd have to be, like, on another planet, actually literally not in Star Wars, to not know the message. You guys, this has been going on forever. Like, this message is over. Can we address something new? There's so many other soapboxes to stand on. Yeah,
there's so much more we have to worry about. You're right, Laura. There's so much more we have to worry about. And you know what? We also, like, I get if they're. I mean, I understand trying to make a point, but I think that it's the wrong world to make that point in, I think. Oh, Laura's fucking out.
Correct.
Laura's gone.
Sorry.
Like, fuck that. I am done.
I'm like taking my leaning tower of Pisa that's my tripod tonight, and I dropped the phone.
But that's how I feel too.
I agree. And I don't want to see it mixed in with a culture that's more sophisticated than a message that's been drilled in our head since the 90s. Am I wrong? Am I wrong that, like, it finally came out in the 90s that sexual assault? We have our old movies where it was okay, like 16 Candles, there's some messed up stuff going on in that movie with drugging and blaming it on women. Like, we already moved through this era, you guys. We spent the 90s, the 00s, the 2010s going over this. We saw Rihanna and the Chris Brown situation. I don't know. What more do you guys need me to recap? Like, we don't need it on Star Wars too.
No,
we don't.
No.
Don't. Yeah, if this comes into fruition,
I really hope this.
Again, this was the thing they said. They watched it, Sean, and they were spreading it to the internet so the internet could know to maybe change it before it comes out. It's not going to change at this point.
Like,
this season drops.
Episode I've ever heard previewed. Like, we don't, like, what is your audience for that? People that, like, were in a time capsule from 1990 to 2015.
I don't know. It really bums me out. It really bums me out.
I hope they never air that bullshit.
You know what, GR? Maybe a movement can start that, but I think it's too far gone, too late. Everything's shot. It's coming out in a couple weeks. I mean, they could cut it out. I mean,
lesson is already in jail or on trial right now.
Let's be honest. Disney Plus shows are too long to begin with anyway. They really need to. I'm sure they could cut it out if this even exists.
Yeah.
Good God, man.
I know. It's not my Star Wars, right, Sean?
I'm not saying that shit. I don't watch GR right now.
Sean said, "It's all my Star Wars. I earned it."
I tried GR. I tried.
I like Star Wars just as much as the other guy. I don't really. It was never like big into it. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you watch Skeleton Crew? Did you watch Skeleton Crew?
I never got to that one either.
It was so fun.
Cute.
Right,
yeah,
GR.
Didn't watch the Acolyte. Didn't watch that.
Well, you didn't miss shit with the Acolyte.
Queen had a fun question of, are they trying to shock the audience? And like, that's a great freaking question, Queen. I would love to know the answer to that. I don't think it's shocking though. I think it's something that we've seen since like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I don't know, when I was in high school. What was that? 03 or something? Like, come on, man.
There's a level 2 of like desensitization. Did I say that right? Who knows? But like before the internet, before the adoption of the internet, where everything is just there for you whenever the hell you wanted, like special episodes and stuff like that, like was the thing, right? Like you would do that. Like, was it Tim the Toolman Taylor's kid almost had AIDS or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, Home Improvement. We had our Saved by the Bell specials, right? Yeah. Jesse. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Were they doing
like,
caffeine pills?
Yeah. She's so scared. She's just so scared.
She's scared, Zach.
But that was the 90s when we didn't talk about it. And now it's been talked to death. And we're all riding the dead horse into the dying sunset, I suppose.
Sean, you're muted.
Star Wars these days.
Sean, you're muted.
Go ahead.
How long?
I've been saying it for a couple times. About 15 seconds.
What was the last thing you heard me say? Desensitization?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I made a really good point. Don't worry about it. But no, like even there was something come out recently about the Power Rangers where it was like, hey, it was pretty fucked up that we put a black kid in Black Ranger and an Asian girl in the Yellow Ranger. That was very stupid of us. Yeah, we know it was. Yeah. Like we didn't have it in that lens.
Thank you.
We as a society go and accept it, but like, yeah, man, I don't know. I thought the cart is the horse has left the barn or whatever. On like everyone kind of knows this is not shit you do on a Disney Plus show. I don't know, man.
Still very diverse cast for the Power Rangers.
Can you just like look past that and go like, yeah, that's dumb, and enjoy the show for what it is? If that's like stopping your day, are you gonna make it through the world? I don't know, you guys. It gets a lot worse out here than that. Like
it does.
You don't have to put it in everything. That's the bottom line.
Again, entertainment.
There we go.
My dad always said I was too sensitive. I feel like the world's too sensitive for even me now, and that's a problem.
Well, there's always a fine line. There's a fine line. At the end of the day, this is an entertainment thing. What's we do? We talk entertainment. That's what we do. And Star Wars is entertainment, a distraction, a relief from the real world. And it was targeted towards kids before. I get changing of the guard. I get how things adapt. But at the end of the day, don't forget the magic of Star Wars and how it can brighten our imaginations, make us believe that we're in an inclusive world where anybody can be friends. And also, to the day, we're here to have some fucking fun.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pepestar needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.